for the visitor. Does that
Hmm.
um I know Ashley's like, what are you going with? Where are you going with this?
No,
Does
I'm laughing because I know exactly what you're talking about.
This is Life Rewired, the brain injury podcast for survivors by survivors. And now your host, Rob and Ashley.
Medicines and things like the gummies and the marijuana do opposite for Veronica than they do for a lot of other people. A lot of brain injured people have the opposite effect of what is supposed to happen. She gets hyper and happy and can't stop moving and becomes even more impulsive, which is really dangerous. So, even with medication,
Yeah,
she often has the opposite effect. She was given medicine to help her lose weight, and it attached her to the refrigerator. So, a lot of things happen differently for brain injured people than people that don't have brain injuries.
Now, are the classes you teach, are they free of charge, or do you guys charge a fee in case there are teachers or educators, watching that might be interested?
We have tried, I wrote up a plan, a business plan, and I've presented it to different schools, but they said, nope, we don't have money for that, and nothing's going to stop us from teaching. So we just said, okay, we're still going at it. And it was so nice yesterday, Thursday, when we were teaching, we had a different teacher than we usually have. There's a few that we're used to seeing every year, and this was a different one. And he said he was so excited to hear our story because teachers talk about it. And students, when we walk in the school, they say, oh, you were here last year. That was great. And one time we were in a restaurant, and this young man, he was like 15 years old, and he was busboy. And he came up to Veronica while we were eating, and he said, you taught at our school last year, didn't you? And he said, what a great presentation. So we're making a difference.
that's amazing.
Thank you.
And is this something you would be open to teaching virtually if you had the opportunity to reach somebody in a different state? Like, for example, I know I live on the East Coast and Rob lives in, are you considered East Coast? Or are you considered like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, so if there was like a school in a different part of the country, would virtual be something that you and Veronica would be open to?
In a heartbeat. In a heartbeat. We would go state to state, but
Okay.
since we don't make anything on the cost of getting there, we can't afford it. And we also would like to, I have goals, like I had some for this year, and I put them onto next year's goals. I didn't meet them all, but um, I would like to speak at churches, rehabs, the hospital itself.
oh,
So I would like to
that's
teach.
a great idea.
Yeah, we really want to reach a larger audience. One thing that makes it difficult to do that,
Mm,
though, is the amount of rest that I need. So I have to go slow and
yes.
steady because even on a daily
Hmm.
basis, I still take a nap almost every day. And it's been 16 years, and I don't like that. But if I don't take a nap, I have to go to bed at 7:30. I don't get to see my family very much then. So you can relate, huh, Rob?
I can relate completely. Yeah. And if I don't rest my brain, I don't know if this comes across for you, but when I don't rest my brain, I start stuttering more. My speech gets slurred and the words don't make sense. They just don't.
I forget my words. And I already forget my words, as you see, but it gets really bad, and my family finishes my sentences. And, you know, it does become frustrating if it happens too much.
I would say definitely for the first year I had to nap every day. Since then, I nap when I can, but another problem I have is even if I'm tired, sometimes even though I'm cognitively fatigued, my body fights it and I'm not
Hmm.
able to rest, or even sometimes sleeping at night, like it takes me a while to fall asleep, or I wake up in the middle of the night and then I struggle to fall back to sleep. So I'm really affected more by like insomnia as a result of the traumatic brain injury slash post concussion syndrome. So
About how many hours do you typically get of sleep a night?
if it's a good night, I
Hmm.
try to get the 8 hours, but if it's not a good night, it could be anywhere from like 3 to 5.
Yeah, that's me. There's been nights I only
I
get
get
2 hours.
9 to 10. Two
Really?
hours,
Yeah.
Some days, yeah. Some days three to
and you
five, yeah.
function and you work.
Yeah. Have no
Barely.
choice. Yeah.
Usually I have to go off the clock and you
And
recharge my
rest.
spoons and then go back on the clock. I'm very fortunate to have a job where we're allowed to set our own schedules and have a great deal of autonomy. I think if I worked a traditional 9 to 5 job, I
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to do it.
Besides being a caregiver for Veronica, I still don't think I could work because I have bipolar disorder as well as a brain injury, and when I get under stress, that's when my episodes come out, and I can go manic, and I can get really really depressed.
Now, does Colorado have a program where you can get paid to be her caregiver, Dawn?
They do, but you have to write down everything to the even the details of cleaning out the refrigerator, how many times a week you do it, how long it takes you to do it. And I don't want to do that. I just want to live our life.
Oh,
If I
that's a shame because that is something I could definitely like help you with like a note template for that where it's just like check boxes and crap.
you
Because we
know,
deal with that all the time with our families that self direct their services, where it's like, but I have too much to do. It's like, I can literally give you like a note that has check boxes on it. And all you have to do is check the boxes and then write down the date and the start time and the end time. And that's your note. But I don't know. That might be a Pennsylvania reg. I don't know what the Colorado regs are for service notes, but
I don't
if
know.
Colorado will accept a checklist, let me know and I'd be more than happy to help you.
Thank you. I wish we would have thought of that a long time ago when Veronica needed more supervision and more help with the things she does because she's really high functioning now, but she makes really poor decisions. So she shouldn't be left alone all day. So she can be, but we might be a little surprised at what she does during that time.
Well, if you ever decide to revisit it, please let me know.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else?
Anything you didn't share, Dawn? Do you want to plug your book again?
I would.
Where we
The
can buy it?
Yes. Um, a miracle a day, one day at a time. Hope after traumatic brain injury. The reason it has such a long name is when Veronica was in the hospital, I kept a notebook of wrote down every day when she was in the hospital, 11 weeks longer than I was, because my memory was really bad and I knew I wouldn't remember. And I wrote inside the notebook on the first page, a miracle a day, one day at a time. But nobody knows what that is. So that's why Hope After Traumatic Brain Injury. And it's available many places online, Book Baby Bookshop and Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and I think you can even get it Walmart online.
Oh,
If you
really?
were to Google my name
Yeah, I was going to tell you,
wherever,
Dawn,
it would come up.
just to
What?
piggyback on what you just said, your
Hmm.
book is an awesome book. I've read it a couple of times, and I don't generally reread books. So
Thank you.
I want to encourage people if you're on the fence. I mean, the book is like, I don't know, how much is the book, Dawn?
Um, 1999. Um, and
Yeah,
and it's not just about our journey, the first 12 years through our journey and everything, how we coped, but it's educational. It talks
yeah.
about what happens to your brain, why you behave the way you do after certain things happen to your brain, what you can maybe expect in the future, things like that. So,
Hmm. Yeah, it is a really good read, and it's not written in a way that you can't understand it, and
oh,
you don't talk down to people. It's just these are the facts. So and I love that about your
thank
book.
you.
And
I'm very
actually,
basic.
you you definitely took my question because I was going to ask her about the virtual teaching. So I'm glad you brought that up before I forgot it.
Do you know anywhere that we would be able to do something like that?
I don't know specifically how to do that, but I think we'll find out. We have some gurus that'll help us to get to the bottom of that. One question I did want to ask, well, two actually, before we let you go. Um, you said you had snow days to make up already this year, so you guys have already had cancellation due to snow.
3 days in a row. And then a couple
Wow.
days
Wow,
later, it was 60 degrees. Hmm. We
Colorado
got
weather.
20 inches in 3 days, I think, or 2 days. It was
Oh,
Wow.
unbelievable. It was a
now
lot.
have you decided to stay in Colorado all your life?
Yes, because that's very
I
unusual.
don't deal very well with snow.
Oh, it's very
Gosh. And then
unusual that we get that much.
The other question I was going to ask, this could be for both Ashley and Dawn. I know it's a personal question, but it's one that I've never asked or even thought about asking is when that time comes each month for, the visitor, does that,
Hmm.
um, I know Ashley's like, what are you going with? Where are you going with this?
No,
Does,
I'm laughing because I know exactly what you're talking about.
yeah, here's the guy asking
I'm
that question.
past that.
Well, just
Well,
barely.
Rob's, can I point out, Dawn, that Rob's face is beat red?
Wait, what was the rest of your question?
So the rest of my question is when that happens each month, does that actually increase your symptoms, your TBI symptoms?
I don't know because I've always been on mood meds.
Hmm.
And with
Ashley,
bipolar
do you want to
disorder,
answer the question or do you want to skip the question altogether?
Absolutely, and I think my husband would probably agree with that too.
And one last thing before we sign off. Um, Dawn, would she be willing to come on camera to say hi to us? Because we've talked about Veronica several times
you
that
know
the
what?
audience has never actually seen her.
I actually asked her if she was upset that I was coming on here by myself since she teaches we I wouldn't have my teaching without her. And she's like, "No, mom, you
Mm-hmm.
go be the star." And I felt bad that she wasn't on here, but I
Oh,
can go get her. You mean now or another
yeah, go
day?
get her. Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'd like to at least say hi. We'll sign
Yes.
off with her.
As
Well,
long as
me and
she's
Ashley will.
comfortable with it.
Yeah, yeah.
Hi.
Hello, and
Hi,
this is
Veronica.
Veronica. And Veronica, we have
Yes.
heard so much about you. We want to at least say hi to you before we signed off today. So, is there any
Okay. Well,
words of
hi
wisdom you would
guys.
like to give?
There's always a new day, and um, I don't know. What do I say? She's very, very positive. I'm sorry. And whenever something bad happens or like we're down, she always says, "Tomorrow's a new day. It's okay. We can always start over." So that's helpful.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
That's a
Mom.
great inspirational word.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you, Veronica. It was so nice to finally get to meet you.
Yes. Nice to meet you too. Bye, guys.
We have a clip of Dawn and Veronica teaching class, so let's take a look at that real quick.
He has what's called PTSD.
That was me in the hospital, relearning how to eat and that soft food. I had a feeding tube for 2 months, and so that is my first meal, and it is mashed potatoes, corn, and
A block of corn,
Yes.
actually, a block of corn.
I don't know what kind of meat, but it's just like puree.
That one's not puree, but she had to eat
Yeah.
pureed food for a long time. And thick liquids, honey, thick, you know how thick honey is. That's the kind of liquids she had to drink for a long time
And
because she had a trach and she would choke on everything.
And I didn't wear glasses before the accident, and so I'm wearing those pretty gorgeous glasses with tape on them because I saw double. And so those are to help me not see double.
And that's another
In the
picture of
hospital,
Veronica relearning motor skills.
I was really, that was almost when I got out. That's my dad. When I was like, I was basically up and walking, but yeah. And that's my 60th birthday, walking out with all my nurses. So,
One more thing, because our memories are bad, when my husband and I get in an argument, if I walk away, like I'll forget that we were in an argument, and when I go back, he's still all grumbly, and I don't know why, and he'll have to tell me because we had an argument, and he's still mad. And Veronica will storm down to her bedroom, and
5 minutes later, I'll come up and Mom will still be mad, and I'll be like, "What's wrong?" She's like, "You don't remember us fighting?" No. Any questions?
So I'm going to throw it back to Ashley so she can do all the YouTubey things. I hate it when you're not here, Ashley, because I never know how to end the show. So over to you.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I am Ashley.
And I am Rob. And this is Life
And I-
Rewired. See you guys next week.
bye.
Oh, and Dawn. Go ahead, Dawn. If you want to say
Thank
and I'm
you for
Dawn, you
having
can
me.
put it in another part.
I'm so appreciative that you had me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn. See you guys next week.